come to church and fight. All right, well, the Bible tells us unequivocally that my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because they have rejected knowledge. And he said, because you've rejected knowledge, I will also reject your children. He said, because you won't hear what I say, your children are going to be in trouble. Now, I want you to know I've got enough sense to know that everybody is not going to do right and everybody's not going to do wrong. You know, with us as a people, and I'm talking to black people right now sitting in this congregation, we were all lumped together, and it said that the whole system said that there was something wrong with all of us. So it didn't matter how good you were, how well you did what you did, you were still considered black. And that was a problem for the system. Now, we can't be naive and try to say that all white people are the same, because they're not. And we don't need to be caught up in that twisted ideology, because you've got some bad people in every race of people. And you've got some good ones. So when we make reference to stuff, I'm always going to try to qualify that we're not talking about everybody that's in this group, because everybody in that group may not have the same spirit, the same thinking. They may be influenced by the group, but that may not be who they are. They may not have enough strength just to get away from what is in error. So we want to qualify. We want to make sure that we understand things, because we need to deal with serious issues that are going on in the world and in this country. Now, as I discover more about the country that I live in, I'm seeing America in many places in the Bible. People say, well, America is not in the Bible. Well, they haven't read the Bible. They haven't read it. They're reading it in light of what they want this thing to be. But when you look at this entire system and look at descriptions that are in Jeremiah, Isaiah, Revelation, even some over in Zechariah, we're in the book. There's no way anything this big that is all over the world cannot be in the Bible. We just have to be blind and foolish, and we don't want to see it. So it's not in here by the name America, but it is in here by the name Babylon. Now, because we live in Babylon, and I've studied Babylon, I understand what Babylon did to Yahweh's people. I understand what Babylon did to their psyches, how Babylon made them think, or should I say, not think. So here we are. I was talking to a gentleman, and he was saying that he was finally starting to see the importance of knowing what was in the Bible. He said he didn't really think about it before. And he's really starting to get some good information. And everything he would ask me, well, do you know anything about this? Have you heard about this? Yeah. I've had that for 30 years. Blew his mind, because there were things that I have researched and studied that he heard somebody else say, and it just blew his mind. But there were things I'd been saying for 20 years. But you see, the way Babylon has trained us, if all of us have been grouped and made to think there's something wrong with all of us, then we'll have a problem thinking any of us know what we're talking about. So you'll think, because you don't know anything, you think I don't know anything either. That's the program. So he don't know what he's talking about, because you will have been told that black people don't have that knowledge, don't have access to that. They don't know that. So therefore, you will not believe. You'll not believe the things that somebody that looks like you may say, but somebody else will say the same thing, and oh my God, that's awesome. But see, that's the program. That's what Babylon did. Babylon said, see, nobody but the Chaldean, anybody that is not the Babylonian Chaldean is ignorant. And except we affirm them, it doesn't mean anything. So, if Babylon said, ignore this person, or let's get them on TV or radio or put them in a magazine and demean them, then you say, okay, well, I don't need to hear him. But you'll keep right on listening to Donald Trump, even though Trump has no program. Has nothing. All he has is money. The program is deep, folks. I'm telling you, it's deep. And what I was telling the gentleman, I said, look, I said, you need to understand something. I said, I've been trying to get my folk to understand it, but they don't. I said, if the children of Israel were called by the living God, and he chose them for his own, and I can take you all over the old covenant and show you in the new, especially in Romans, where he talks about Israel being the natural branches. So that would mean that he wanted them to do something special because all of these fallen angels, they were over other nations. He was over Israel. He chose one group of folk for himself. Now, what did they do? They got crazy and got off into idolatry and started hanging out with these other gods that were fallen angels that he made as powerful angels, but they rebelled against God. So now they're running these other nations. And then he tells them, Israel, don't get entangled with them because these guys have worked against me. So then his children get entangled with the very fallen angels that works against the living God. He said, I'm upset with you. So now this is what you need to understand. He said, I'm going to call Israel and Judah back to me, for they are mine. Now, that being said, if they belong to him, that means that there is something in them that has been locked down. Once they come to Yeshua, they get born again. But if you're going to think like everybody else and not come back to what that seed of God is that's in you because you were chosen by him, you still going to live beneath your privileges. That's right. So, I'm not saying, now, got a hold of a book, very, very good book, and I'm thankful for it. But you know one thing I found out, I mean, this guy, Richard Combs, he has some phenomenal information. I almost can't put the book down. I had to get it offline and downloaded it and copied it. It's phenomenal stuff. Tells you about America through and through. You understand things that, and the amazing thing, he's telling me things that I had been discovering in bits and pieces for 20 years but wouldn't say anything because I didn't want to believe that I was seeing what I was seeing. But I did see it. Now, he wrote it. People turned against him. So I don't expect you to like me for what I say. Because now he was a white man and they turned against him, so I know you're going to turn against me. Some of you already have. Some of you just tolerating me. You're just sitting in here because you do hear some stuff, but you won't tell anybody this way you go to church. Now, you won't tell anybody. And you will not talk about some of this stuff that I teach you in here. You go right back to religion when you get out there with your religious folk. And you go back to sounding just like them, thinking just like them, acting just like them. And whatever they say, yeah, that's right, that's right, that's right. Rather than telling folk, now look, this is the truth. And I've taught you enough to know how to handle yourself. But we won't even use that. We go back to religion. You see how Babylon has your program? You know you do it. I know you do it. God knows you do it. That's how we think. Because the religious program from Babylon is much stronger than the God program from Yahweh. You say, well, I don't know. Well, go back and study old Israel. They walked away from Yahweh every time he turned around. He kept bringing them back. He said, I'm going to love you anyway. He said, I'm going to divorce you, but then I'm going to marry you again. There's something. Now, one of the things, I love the book, but one of the things they cannot see, every one of them, they write marvelous stuff, but they cannot believe that there are any Hebrews on the planet that are not white. They can't believe it. They cannot put that piece in any of their writings. They believe that all of the Jews have to be of the white race, regardless of what the scripture said. The scripture said, I'm going to scatter them in every nation, among every people. They can't get that. Now, here is the problem. Since they can't get it, we're the ones supposed to get it and demonstrate it to them. But we're too afraid to be who we are. That spark of God is in us, and we tell you who you are, and you're like, oh, that ain't me. I'm just a black man. No, you are, but you are not just a black man. That's why, can't you see why you being beat down and beat up so bad? Because always when Yahweh's about to do something, the devil comes at that thing like crazy. And we don't see it. And we're trying to tell you how to get back. Get the knowledge. Let that other piece of you come alive and start to become what Yahweh said you're supposed to be. But we are so happy to just be religious. Well, I don't think it take all that. I ain't got to go through all that. I'm all right with who I am. You may be all right, but you're not all that you should be. You're not everything you should be. And what we're trying to do is help you understand it's time for knowledge. You see, you ought to be telling folk, other brothers and sisters, you ought to be preparing them. You ought to know what we say here on Sunday morning. And when you start talking to them, say, listen, I want you to come on and go to worship with me. Now, I'm going to tell you this. You're going to hear some things you ain't never heard. You're going to see some things you ain't never seen. But do not be alarmed. God is an awesome and mighty God. But see, you won't even tell them that. You won't even tell them that. You too chicken to be different. Well, I'm not. I'm just different. I told people in a funeral I did the other week, I'm not from here. I'm from another planet. I am not from this planet. I don't think like this planet. I don't walk like this planet. I do not read the Bible like folks on this planet. Now, it scares some of the preachers, I'm sure. But if I'm different, why should I be afraid of whether or not they're going to like me or not? If I am an alien, I do not expect them to like me. What I expect them to do is try to gain some insight about the world I came from. But see, we're too busy trying to live in this world. We're too busy trying to be like this world. And he said, be in it, but don't be of it. So I live on this planet, but I get my instruction from off this planet. I get a little training from here, but that's just to show me how to maneuver on this thing. But my revelation comes from outside of this thing. So, I don't try to do like everybody else. I don't try to preach like everybody else. I don't try to get in gear. If I happen to get in gear and you like it, fine. But if you come back the next Sunday and I stand here like this is what I do. And you ought to be broad enough to be able to handle whatever mode the Holy Ghost decides to move in. But see, when you get programs that, well, he didn't do much preaching today, you ain't nothing but a religious devil. Because you couldn't get anything except I went to a certain place. You couldn't enjoy it. Oh, I tell you what, I sure enjoyed that today. You didn't get anything that changed your behavior. You came in here last year the same way you come in here this year, and then you're going to tell me you've been going to church the whole year. Come on. I don't go to nothing every week and stay the same. You don't even go to a restaurant and stay the same. You're going to get fatter if you keep going in there every day. Everything changes. And then we want to come in here and think it's supposed, Lord, I just couldn't get with it today. He didn't preach like he normally preached. Did I have the Bible? Was I speaking from this book? It shouldn't have mattered whether I was loud, whether I was sitting on a stool, whether I sat in that chair. It shouldn't have mattered if you got your mind programmed for truth. You see, that's why you can get played by false prophets so easy. They know the psychology. They studied the same psychology that people that advertise have studied. People that advertise know exactly how to get you to buy. We use the same principles in church. We know exactly how to get you to buy. Listen, I know how to play you financially. Do you know if I put pastel-colored envelopes out, you'll give more money? It's a psychological thing. That's right. But see, I'll only put white out because I want to stay pure. But I can get more money out of you. I know the games. I could use pastels, light blues, and peach-colored, yellows. I know the colors that move light blues, that move folk. And could put them out there and guarantee you, you'll start putting more money in. I know how to get more money out of you. If I got bigger offering buckets, your mind says, this thing is big. We need to make sure we fill it up. I know how to play you. But I don't play with you. I try to give you the ability to grow and develop and think for yourself. And when I do that, see, because you are so programmed by Babylon to be played, you can't take a real man. Can't take an honest man. You come against him, but we put a huckster up here, put a buffoon up here that's clowning, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and you sat there laughing and rocking. Oh, the spirit was in there. The spirit wasn't nowhere near that mess. And you all locked up in it. I said, Lord, he said, son, teach my people. He said, I got to use these people, and they are so busy being used. The world is using them. I want to use them. He said, if they get it plugged into me as they are into the world, he said, I could get some things done. He said, but they're so busy trying to act, behave like the world. We have no faith. We don't trust him. We don't. We have a religious program. And this is how we operate it. We do not make the sacrifices. When I first got saved, I didn't have no money. I didn't have a job. No money. No job. Trying to make it. 4 children, number 5 on the way. Didn't know what in the world am I going to do. But you know what? I would never. I didn't then, I don't now. I would not rob God. I gave him. I got $166 a week unemployment. That wouldn't pay my house payment. The house payment was $420, and that was in '81, and then they went up on it with me having no job to $460, and I had no job, and $166 a week unemployment, and 4 children, 1 on the way. And $166 a week unemployment. You do the math. Even if I made the house payment, what about light bill, water bill, food? You see? But you know what? I was so scared I'd spend that money. When that check would come, sometime come on Tuesday or Wednesday, I'd take that tithe out and take it to the treasurer's house because I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to be in trouble. And I gave it God got me out, got me through everything that has gone on. And see, I have stored up enough, even if I don't, if I can't give as much as I give now, I've got enough in my heavenly bank account. I'm going to be all right for a long time. See, because I did what I was supposed to do, regardless of what it looked like. I said, Lord, I don't know how you're going to help me take care of my children. But he did, because I have come this far by faith. I'm not here just because I was so good, or I was so all of that. I had to trust the living God. Now, you know, I want to talk to you about your heart being whole for just a minute, and that's just a precursor. Your heart being whole. Now, my heart was whole towards the living God. Now, some of you, your hearts have been whole towards the hustler. You've been whole towards a religious system. But see, my heart was whole towards the living God, so it didn't make any difference who was in charge of the church. I did the same thing. Well, I don't like him, I'm going to withhold my tithes. You see, you ain't read the Bible. The Bible said bring his tithe. He ain't said nothing about yours. He said they were his. And he said, you bring my tithe into the storehouse, you bring your offering. The offering is yours, the tithe is his. So how you got, see, my heart was whole towards him, because when I read something, I said, oh, he said that was his, so that ain't mine. You see, when he told me I was supposed to love my wife, the only way I equated love was through giving provision and being there with her to have sex. That's all I understood about love. I did not have the other parts. So my heart was whole towards him, but I was learning to be whole towards them. I didn't really know how to be a father. All I knew was what I had seen. So we say, well, you know, I'm a good daddy. You may be. But you could be much better if you get out some of your religious stuff and do what God said. You could be much better. So I've learned to be much better, and I'm doing what I need to do even with my children being grown. I'm still trying to put stuff in them to help them understand what it means to be a whole man, a whole woman, what it means to make the sacrifices, what it means to deny you to make sure you take care of somebody else. But see, that's not what we have today. Everything we have today is about what's in it for me. How much blessing can you give me? How can you elevate me? How can you make me be who I want to be? No, see, you got to make me be the star. I got to be the star. I have got to be. I'm working my way into a place to where I'm going to be the big man. I never even thought about that when I got saved. I would have been content. I got saved in 1982. Pastor Walter Barber was the pastor over at New Greenleaf. I would have been content to have been his musician until I died. I was not looking for anything else. I wasn't trying to take his place. Anything I could tell him or help him do, that's what I was trying to do. If they wanted to come by my house and eat, come on. I did not have this thing to where I was fragmented in my heart towards the kingdom. Whatever I needed to do for the kingdom, I would do it. No job, very little money. Many times we'd have to go, sometimes 2 or 3 places on Sunday where he was preaching, or we'd go sing or whatever. The choir, some of them were from Smithfield and different places. I had all my children, and my wife and I would figure out how to take our little money, because we knew the whole choir was coming to the house on Sunday and eat with us, and then we were going somewhere to sing. And it was amazing how God would multiply food. The fish and the 5 loaves kept right on multiplying. See, we don't understand what our stingy selves. Some of us are just as, and then you're going to give somebody something, and you don't even want it. Here you come bringing me a rotten watermelon. You found out the thing was rotten. You didn't want that. You come bringing it to me. I gave people my best when I did what I did. But see, some of us, we just, and Mama said, just as tight as Dick's hat band. We just as stingy and tight and ungodly as we can be. Ain't gonna help nobody do nothing. See, some of y'all are just like some of them folk that live in New York. You go up there, back there in the 60s and 70s, you go up there to visit them, and you look up and one of them get gone. That one come back, another one get gone. They done gone in the kitchen one by one and eating, and they gonna give you nothing. My wife and I feed everybody. That's why I know if it ever gets crazy, manna is going to come down all around 2101 Granville Drive, and I may have to get my children to stand out there with guns to keep some of you greedy folk who ain't never gave nothing to nobody. You ain't going to get none of it. Our concepts are wrong. We do not act like this book. And I said, Lord, I told my wife, I said, girl, I said, I ain't got, but I said, I got to do what I got to do. I said, sometimes I don't feel like it. I said, but I'm going to seek the Lord until we break through. And you know what's really disturbing? I know people have worked witchcraft against us. And I said, Lord, if I could, I said, it's a good thing you don't let me catch him. I said, because you gracious, you merciful. I said, I killed them N-I-G-G-A-R's. Not E-R's. Lord, I'd kill them. Bring all of this nasty stuff up on people's lives. Folk got to suffer with sickness, disease, and poverty because of your jealous self. You envious self, hurting other folk because you are envious and jealous of what they have. You see, your witchcraft works out of your mouth. Whether you go see Dr. Buzzard or not, you become the witch based on what you say. And some of you are working witchcraft against yourself. I don't know. I can't do it, Lord. It's too hard. Lord, I don't know. I'm just sick. You ain't nothing but a witch to yourself.